Dear friends, welcome and greetings to all of you. Let us begin. In our previous episode, we discussed the legendary tale that set the stage for the Trojan War, which lasted for a whole decade. It all started when Paris abducted Queen Helen, leading to a 10-year war. Despite their efforts, the Greek army failed to breach the city of Troy. What was the cunning strategy employed by the Greeks to enter the city? And what is the story behind the famous Trojan Horse? Did the Greeks succeed in infiltrating the city of Troy with this plan? Finally, the surprise awaits. Is the legend of Troy real, or is it merely a creation of the epic poems, the Odyssey and the Iliad? Stay tuned as we uncover the truth. If you haven't seen the first part of the story, you should go back to the episode link in the description box, and then complete the story with us. Starting, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button and share it with others. Also, make sure to subscribe to the channel. You can support the channel on Patreon through the link in the description box, so we can continue bringing you all the exciting and new content. Your support makes a difference for us. After besieging the city for 10 whole years without result, the Greeks thought of an alternative trick to penetrate the walls of Troy. Was a Trojan horse. Here are the details of this cunning trick. Stay tuned. Trick of the Greeks. The Greeks made a huge wooden horse. They placed it in front of the gate of Troy as a sign of acknowledgement of defeat and as a gift to its people. Then they withdrew from the place. Of course not. They did not actually withdraw. It was merely a trick to deceive the people of Troy and persuade them to open their gates. The Greeks hid and concealed their ships behind a nearby island, waiting for the horse to enter the city. And from here, two narratives emerged. First story. The first narrative suggests that the people of Troy immediately brought the wooden horse inside, rejoicing in their victory. The soldiers hidden inside the horse then emerged at night, opened the city gates, and proceeded to destroy it. The second story. The second narrative, on the other hand, completely contradicts the first. Both narratives end with the destruction of the city. According to the second narrative, one of the city's priests warned the people of Troy against bringing the horse inside. He threw a long spear at the horse, and a loud sound resembling a moan emerged. As a result, the people of Troy decided to destroy the horse as a precautionary measure. But even this did not happen. Why do you think, my friends? According to the narrative, before the destruction of the horse began, giant whales appeared in the sea and killed the city's priest. The people of Troy considered this a sign of the gods' anger towards their refusal to accept the gift, which made them move the horse into the city with ceremonial rituals, great joy and pleasure. And here the disaster occurred. Certainly because the horse was never empty. It was filled with soldiers. The sound we mentioned earlier, which came from the horse when the priest threw his spear, was actually the sound of one of the soldiers who was struck by that spear. The soldiers emerged from the horse at night and opened the city gates for the rest of the Greek army. What followed was heartbreaking. The city of Troy was completely burned, and the men were killed while the women and children were taken captive. Thus, the War of Troy, which lasted for 10 years, came to an end. Wait, my friends. This is the famous legend of Troy. But what is the surprise that was mentioned earlier? Stay with us. There are many narratives surrounding the Trojan War, debating whether it is a historical fact or a fiction. Here, we will mention the three most common narratives about this war. The first novel. The first narration says, The Trojan horse may not have been used or even created at all. There is no historical evidence or proof confirming the existence of that horse, except for some literary references, as mentioned in the epic poems the Odyssey and the Iliad. In this regard, there are two beliefs. The first belief is that the Trojan horse symbolizes Poseidon, the Greek god of horses and earthquakes. This implies that this war may not have taken place at all. Nobody knows for certain. As for the second belief, it suggests that the issue of the horse stems from a translation error. According to some researchers, the famous horse in the legend was actually a merchant ship called Hyabos or Hyperbos. Its front is topped by a large statue in the form of a horse's head as its sign. And the word hippos and hippos means horse. The second novel. The whole city of Troy is not real. Yes, as you have heard, my friends, it is not real. Which made the researchers divided into two parts. Section 1. He believes that the story of the legend, the city and the horse is a fictional story. As for the second section, it is believed to be a real city that was destroyed in an earthquake, and that the epics and legends were based in their story on the cities that were built on the ruins of the city of Troy, which was destroyed by the earthquake. The third novel. And now to the third story. The characters mentioned in epics and novels may not really exist on the ground. Especially Queen Helen, who was a major cause of the Trojan War. Historians have not been able to find conclusive evidence that these personalities are real and that they lived on this earth. What reinforces this theory is that some people cannot believe that a war could last for 10 years because of a woman. Nobody knows where the truth is. The truth. In reality, everything we mentioned before the siege of Troy is the creation of the poet Homer's imagination and has no historical basis. As for the siege of the city of Troy, researchers suggest that it did occur, and the war between Troy and Sparta lasted much longer than 10 years. The main reason for the war was the control over the maritime and trade routes. Yes, it is quite intriguing to discover that one of the most captivating events in history, which we have known, read, and believed in, is likely a product of pure imagination. According to researchers, it has no real connection to historical events. It is a testament to the power of storytelling and the enduring impact of myths and legends throughout human history. The result. In the result we get. Whether this legend is real or simply a work of imagination, what is certain is that we have drawn a moral lesson from it that continues to be passed down from generation to generation to this day. It has given rise to the term Trojan horse, which refers to anything that appears beneficial on the surface but carries hidden dangers and potential harm within it. And you, my friends, what do you think? Do you think this story is real or just a fiction? Don't forget to share your thoughts and comments on this topic. And don't forget to like and share the video. Subscribe to the channel. And support the channel on Patreon in the description box, as your support makes a difference and allows us to continue with you. Stay tuned for more very soon.